Now that you are in a deep trance, we are going to give you a trigger, or reinforce it if you already have it. The trigger phrase is "I am a Midnight Lycanroc." If you use this trigger, or if someone that you trust says the trigger phrase "You are a Midnight Lycanroc," you will undergo the transformation that you are about to experience again at whatever speed you want. Additionally, you will instantly turn back into a human if you use the reset phrase "I am not a Midnight Lycanroc," or if someone that you trust says the reset phrase "You are not a Midnight Lycanroc." Now the transformation will begin. First, feel a tingling sensation all over your body as a short and thick coat of fur starts to grow, consuming any hair that you have as it does so. Most of the fur is dark red, but the fur on the front side of your torso and neck, as well as on your face, hands, feet, lower legs, and knees, is white. Also, the white fur intrudes into the space of the dark red fur in a few places. This happens on your torso where there is a band of white fur that goes all the way around it. It is 1/5 as tall as your torso is and is vertically centered 2/3 of the way up it. The white fur also intrudes into the space of the dark red fur on your upper legs where on the front, left, and right sides of them there are triangles of white fur which bases span the entirety of the bottom of the sides of your upper legs that they are on. While the points of the triangles are all horizontally centered on the sides of your upper legs that they are on, the ones on the left and right sides of your upper legs are vertically located at the top of your upper legs while the ones on the front of your upper legs are vertically located 1/3 of the way up them. The last place where the white fur intrudes on the space of the dark red fur is in the shape of a triangle on each of your lower arms. The bases of them span the entirety of the bottom of the top side of your lower arms and the points of them are horizontally centered on the top side of your lower arms as well as vertically located all the way up them. Additionally, there is a place on your face where the dark red fur intrudes into the space of the white fur. It is in the shape of a vertical stripe that is as wide as your nose is and goes from the center of the top of your face to the end of the top of your nose. However, the white fur intrudes into the space of the dark red stripe in the shape of a triangle. The triangle's base is as wide as the dark red stripe is, as well as vertically and horizontally centered on the bottom of the stripe while the point of it is located 1/2 inch above the base and is also horizontally centered on the dark red stripe. Next, feel your entire body change size so that you are only 3 feet and 7 inches tall. Of course, your size won't actually be changing and you will act as if you are your normal height. In reality, your mind will just change so that everything that is taller than and or above you seems really tall while you, as well as everything that is below and or smaller than you, will seem really small. However, you will be completely unaware of this and not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are your normal height instead of the height of 3 feet and 7 inches. After that, your face elongates to form a long muzzle. However, unlike your mouth which stretches out all the way with your muzzle, the stripe of dark red fur on your face only stretches out so that it is 1/2 as long as your muzzle is and the triangle of white fur that intrudes into it stays the same size but moves down so that the base of it is still centered on the bottom of the stripe. Simultaneously, your entire nose is absorbed into your muzzle except for your nose holes. They stay just as far to the left and right of the center of your head as they had been, but they are now located just below the edge between the top and the front of your muzzle. Then, the fur on the front of your muzzle falls out in an area that is shaped like a triangle with the left and right points on the top left and top right corners of the front of your muzzle and the other point being located on and horizontally centered on the front of your muzzle, as well as located a bit below your nose holes. As the fur falls out it reveals that the skin in that area has become a black material that is slightly squishy and leathery. As this happens, your teeth turn into sharp and pointy fangs and new fangs grow in to fill the extra space in your elongated mouth. Then, feel your fingers and toes beginning to harden as they lose their ability to move and become a solid gray material that is hard and durable. As this happens, they merge and change shape so that you have 3 fingers and toes on each of your hands and feet respectively that are each as long as your longest toe was and that are 1/3 as wide as the hand or foot that they are on. Your fingers and toes also change shape so that the bottom of them is flat while the top of them is curved 180 degrees from the left side of them to the right, and so that while they are as tall as they are wide where they connect to your hands and feet, they gradually get smaller and thinner the closer they get to the end of them until your claws end in dangerously sharp points. Despite how sharp your new claws are, you will never attempt to use them for anything, especially combat. Additionally, because your fingers and toes will not actually have turned into rigid claws and you won't actually have 3 digits on each of your hands and feet, or more accurately 4 paws and hind paws respectively, instead of the number that you normally have, you will act as if your fingers and toes are as they are in reality, but you will be completely unaware of this. Furthermore, you will not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are acting as if you have human fingers and toes instead of what you now perceive yourself as having. Next, 2 extrusions that are made of the same hard and durable material as your claws are made of form on both the left and right side of your torso, with one above the other on each side. They are each half as tall as the band of white fur that goes around your torso is and each span the entirety of the side of your torso that they are on. They are each shaped like an elongated pyramid with dull edges that is 1 inch tall and follows the curve of your torso. The front point of each of these extrusions are located on the edge between the front of your torso and the sides of your torso, while the back ones are located on the edge between the back and the sides of your torso. They are vertically located 1/4 of the way down from the top of your band of white fur on the upper ones and 3/4 of the way down from the top of your band of white fur on the lower ones. The top and bottom point of each of these extrusions are horizontally centered on the middle of the sides of your torso that they are on. The top point of each of the upper extrusions are vertically located on the top of your band of white fur while the bottom point of each of your upper extrusions are vertically located on the center of your band of white fur. Conversely, the bottom point on each of your lower extrusions are vertically located on the bottom of your band of white fur while the top point of each of your lower extrusions are vertically located on the center of your band of white fur. Now, feel a light pulling sensation at the base of your spine as a tail starts to grow that is 1/3 as wide as your torso is and 2/3 as long as your torso is wide, as well as composed entirely of soft and fluffy white fur. It is shaped like a cone that starts out pointing straight back and splits halfway down it. From there, the top 3/4 of it steadily curve upwards so that the tip of it points straight up while the bottom 1/4 of it curves up half as quickly and ends before it points straight up because of how small it is. Because your tail is made purely of fur, you will not be able to control it, but you will be able to sit and lay on it without feeling any discomfort. Then, feel a much stronger version of that same pulling sensation that you felt moments ago as the fur on the part of your white band of fur that is on the back half of your torso grows so that it is 3 inches long. Then, the fur on it grows upwards to form 7 masses of fur, extra fur growing in so that they are each as thick as the rest of your coat of fur is. All of the sections look like one trapezoid-shaped mass of fur that is horizontally centered on your torso and that is as wide as your torso is on the bottom and that is 2.5 times as wide as your torso is on the top, until they are as high as your head, at which point they each split into their own mass which is shaped like a solid cone that has been cut in half and that is half as wide as your torso is, with the flat side being the part of it that faces forwards when it is vertical. The first 5 are located one next to another across the top of the mass before it separates, or the megamass as we'll call it. From the point where the middle one separates from the megamass it grows almost straight up, but curves forwards an inch near the top of it. It is so tall that the end of it is twice as high above your neck as the top of your head is. The ones next to the middle one grow just like it, but are 2 inches shorter than it is, and the outer ones grow just like the last 2, but are 2 inches shorter than they are. The 6th one grows from the same spot as the middle one does and is 2 inches shorter than the first one, as well as quickly curves downwards so that it points straight forwards. It is so long that the end of it is as far forwards as the end of your muzzle. The 7th one also grows from the same spot as the middle one does and starts out pointing straight forwards and gradually curves downwards so that the dull end of it is level with the top of the end of your muzzle and as far forwards from the end of your muzzle as your muzzle is long. The last 2/3 of the curved part of it are made of the same hard and durable gray material as your claws are made of and is firmly attached to the mass of fur that it grows from. Also, 2 sections of fur grow from the mass of fur that the gray material is attached to that cover part of the top half of it in the shape of triangles that match the curve of this mass. One of their bases covers the top of the right side of where the gray material begins while the other one covers the top of the left side of where the gray material begins. Their points are located 1/3 of the way down the mass of gray material and are horizontally aligned with the center of their bases. You will find that this mass of gray material is very heavy due to how dense it is. In fact, you will find that it is so heavy that you are forced to bend your upper body downwards 45 degrees, although not so heavy that it would be dense enough to protect you from anything, and that while you can raise your back for a few minutes at a time, it feels very uncomfortable and tiring, as well as wrong and unnatural, to do so. However, you will find that all of this is very enjoyable and feels completely natural to you. And most of all, it will feel right for things to be like this, to be forced to act like the creature that you wish to become while you inhabit this body. No, it's not just this body, it's your body. That being said, you won't actually be bending downwards 45 degrees because that would be bad for your back, but you will perceive yourself as doing this. You will feel the immense weight if you try to lift your back, as well as feel and know that what you are doing is wrong and unnatural, and you will know that all is as it should be once you finally give in to the weight of your form. Also, your subconscious will control how much you actually bend, bending your body as much as is needed to do what needs to be done and altering your perception to better suit your personal reality, no matter how much it differs from the real one. Additionally, you will not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that the gray mass is not preventing you from bending upwards for more than a few minutes unless you have it resting on something other than yourself, in which case you will not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that the reason that you can bend upwards is not because you have your gray mass resting on something other than yourself. Also, you will not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are not bending down as much as you perceive yourself as bending down. Additionally, you will find that a large part of your vision is blocked by this oh-so-heavy mass, and that the only time that you are aware of what is behind it without the use of something like a mirror is when there is something that it is very important for you to see behind it. Otherwise, you will have to prop it up on something if you wish for it to not obstruct your view. When you do see what is behind the gray mass, you will not find it weird or unusual, and you won't even realize that you are seeing behind it. You will just believe that you are seeing what you are seeing like you normally would, not finding the sudden change in your field of view even slightly weird, unusual, or even noteworthy. Additionally, you will not understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that the gray mass shouldn't be obstructing your vision. With your body now forced to constantly bend down, you will find that it feels really good to just let your arms and forepaws go limp and hang or lie by your sides, as if it is what you are supposed to do, as if it is what you are designed to do. In fact, if you aren't using them to do anything at any given moment, you will feel like you need to let them be limp, as if some deep, instinctual part of your brain is telling you that it is wrong to not let your arms and forepaws go limp when they are not in use, just like how it feels wrong to try and bend your upper body up. After that, your arms and wrists shrink so that they are only half as wide as they had been while your forepaws and claws stay the same size. Next, feel a light pulling sensation in two circular areas on the front of your torso as two cones of fur start to grow. They are located 1/6 and 3/6 of the way up the top half of your torso, as well as grow away from the part of your torso that they are on. Also, they are each 1/6 as wide as your torso is tall and are horizontally centered on it, as well as curve upwards slightly near the end of them. Then, the same thing happens on your back. However, the upper one is twice as wide, long, and tall as the other one is. They are horizontally aligned with the center of the back of your torso, and the top of the base of the lower one is on the top of your band of white fur, while the bottom of the base of the top one is on the top of your band of white fur. Now, feel this light pulling sensation for a final time as fur grows in the shape of three cones on both sides of your head. They are horizontally centered on the sides of your head that they are on and are vertically located 1/6, 3/6, and 5/6 of the way up the sides of your head, with the ones on the left side of your head pointing straight to the left while the ones on the right side of your head point straight to the right. Each of these cones of fur is 1/3 as wide as your head is tall, and the middle one on each side is as long as your head is, while the top and bottom ones are only 3/4 as long as your head is. Then, you feel a stretching sensation as your hind paws bend upwards just behind the balls of your hind paws, so that there is a 45-degree angle between everything from the balls of your hind paws to the tip of your claws and the rest of your hind paws. Immediately after this happens, this bend in your hind paws locks in place, forcing you to walk on your claws and the balls of your hind paws, or walk digitigrade as it is called when it is not done by a human, a creature that is becoming a less and less accurate description of what you are. Also, you will find that you can bend the part of your hind paws that the balls of your hind paws are on up and down a little bit, making your new way of walking much easier. After your hind paws have undergone these changes, the rest of your hind paws start to lengthen. As this happens, your lower legs become shorter at an equal rate until your hind paws are almost as long as your lower legs were, not counting your claws, resulting in your lower legs only being a few inches long. The result of this is that when standing in place, your upper legs are angled 45 degrees downwards and point forwards, your lower legs are angled 45 degrees downwards and point backwards, not counting your claws. Your hind paws are angled 45 degrees downwards and point forwards, and all of your weight rests on your claws and the balls of your hind paws, which are flat. Having this leg structure will feel completely natural to you, almost as if you have had it for your entire life. Of course, your lower legs, claws, and the rest of your hind paws won't actually change so that you walk digitigrade and have the appropriate leg structure, and you will do things like walking and running and standing like you would if you were a human, but you will be completely incapable of perceiving this and only be able to perceive yourself as having that digitigrade leg structure and hind paws. Also, you will be completely incapable of understanding any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you are not moving as if you have this leg structure. After that, feel your ears move to the top of your head. As they do, they become shaped like hollow cones that have been cut in half. While the length and width of your ears stays the same, their height doubles. Also, the edges of the upper half of the back of your ears turn into the same hard and durable gray material that is present throughout so much of your new body. They start out as just a point on each side, but cover more and more of the space on the top of your ears the closer they get to the end of your ears, so that when the two sides are 1/6 of the way from the top of your ears, they form one gray mass. As a result of the gray material being so present on your ears, you will find that they constantly droop forwards unless you are holding them up. Now, feel a slight stretching sensation on the balls of your hind paws as the fur on them falls out to reveal that the skin on them has become a black material that is slightly squishy and leathery. Unlike the gray material, you don't even notice the added weight of your paw pads. Then, skin covered in that familiar coat of white fur covers the top half of your eyes. After that, your eyes and the furry skin that covers them rotate down 30 degrees. Next, your irises and pupils stretch equally in all directions so that they are twice as large as they had been. Then, your eyeballs and pupils turn a pinkish red color. Somehow, even after all of these changes, your vision is just as good as it was before you started to transform. Next, your irises turn that same pinkish red color, but a black border on both the inside and outside of them allows the parts of your eyes to still be distinguished. As this happens, your mind changes so that you don't find it even remotely weird or unusual that you are a Midnight Lycanroc living amongst humans, and that you can speak like a human despite being a species that normally can't. Your mind also changes so that having this form always feels amazing and wonderful, so even if being in it becomes normal for you, it will still be something special. Now, know that the effects of this hypnosis file will become inactive if they are a risk to your physical body or your well-being, if they are a risk to your social or professional life, if there is an emergency that they would prevent you from dealing with to the best of your abilities, or if they are a risk to your mental health. Also, any effect of this hypnosis file that was an issue will become active again once it no longer will be one. Additionally, you will never find this hypnosis file or the effects of it even slightly addicting. Finally, if you ever start to forget that in reality you are a human, the fact that you are one will instantly come to the forefront of your mind. That being said, knowing that in reality you are a human will never make you feel less like a Midnight Lycanroc. Now you have been transformed into a Midnight Lycanroc, so I hope that you enjoy your new body. I must now depart, so goodbye, my dark red friend.